Chapter 7, Lost in Time. John and Constance had been traveling through time for so long that they had lost track of the present. They had seen so many different years and experienced so much that it was hard to remember where they had come from. As they journeyed through the ages, they found themselves questioning their own identity. Who were they, really, if they were constantly moving through time and space? Did they have a place in the world, or were they just drifting through the void? These were difficult questions, and John and Constance struggled to find answers. They had always known that their travels would be filled with challenges, but they had never expected to feel so lost and disconnected from the world. But despite the difficulties, John and Constance never lost their sense of adventure. They knew that they were in this together, and they leaned on each other for support and guidance. As they traveled through time, John and Constance learned that they were more than just time travelers, they were a team, and they could face any challenge as long as they had each other. Chapter 8, A Race Against the Clock. John and Constance were in a race against time. They had been traveling through the ages for so long that they had lost track of their own present, and they knew that they had to find their way back before it was too late. As they journeyed through the ages, they encountered all sorts of obstacles and challenges. They had to use all of their wits and resourcefulness to overcome each one, and they knew that they had to keep moving forward no matter what. It was a race against the clock, and John and Constance knew that they couldn't afford to lose. They had to find their way back to their own time before it was too late, and they had to do it while avoiding the dangers and pitfalls of time travel. As they traveled through the ages, John and Constance faced their greatest challenge yet. They knew that they had to be strong and determined if they were going to make it back home, and they knew that they had to rely on each other for support and guidance. In the end, John and Constance managed to find their way back to the present, just in the nick of time. It was a journey that tested their limits and pushed them to their limits, but they had done it together and they were stronger for it. Chapter 9, The Grandfather Paradox. John and Constance had always known that time travel could be dangerous, but they had never encountered anything quite like the grandfather paradox. As they journeyed through the ages, they found themselves facing a paradoxical situation. They had to go back in time and prevent their own grandfather from meeting their grandmother, in order to prevent their own birth. It was a mind-bending predicament, and John and Constance struggled to find a way out. They knew that they couldn't simply erase their own existence, but they also knew that they had to do something to prevent the paradox from occurring. As they traveled through the ages, John and Constance found themselves facing the most difficult challenge of their journey. They knew that they had to be careful and thoughtful in the decisions they made, because they never knew how their actions might affect the future. In the end, John and Constance found a way to prevent the paradox from occurring and to preserve their own existence. It was a journey that tested their limits and pushed them to their limits, but they had done it together and they were stronger for it. Chapter 10, Constance's Courage. John and Constance have been through a lot together on their journey through time, and they have faced many challenges and dangers. But none of those challenges had been quite as difficult as the one they faced in their final adventure. As they journeyed through the ages, they encountered a situation that threatened to tear them apart. Constance was faced with a decision that would change the course of her life forever, and John knew that he had to support her no matter what. Constance was a strong, intelligent, and capable woman, but she was also human. She was filled with doubts and fears, and she wasn't sure if she had the courage to face the challenges ahead. But with John by her side, Constance found the strength and courage she needed. She knew that he would always be there for her, no matter what, and that gave her the confidence she needed to face her fears and embrace the future. As they traveled through time, John and Constance learned that courage was the most important quality of all. It was a journey that tested their limits and pushed them to their limits, but they had done it together and they were strong.